All right, hello and welcome to Fight Picks with the Pros. My name is Garrett, and today we're going to review 4 fights from the upcoming UFC Fight Night. As always, I'm joined by the former Ultimate Fighter Season 18 champ, Chris Holds It Down Holdsworth.
What's up?
All right, guys, stick around to the end of the show to see our picks for the main event. Let's go.
Introducing Fight Picks with the Pros. Brought to you by FanDuel.
All right, the first fight we have up is Sam Smiling Alvey coming in as a plus 150 underdog versus Julian Cuban Missile Crisis Marquez coming in as the minus 182 favorite. So this is a good matchup. I like Smiling Sam Alvey. He's moving down to 185, a bigger guy. So moving to middleweight is an interesting move for him. You know, he's taken a few losses in a row, so maybe it's going to be a good change for him. Then we all know Marquez on the other side is famous for he just got that comeback submission win, and he called out Miley Cyrus to be his Valentine. Kind of botched that call out. We could talk about that a little bit more. But first off, Chris, what do you think about this fight? What do you think about Smiling Sam Alvey specifically?
Man, the guy's always smiling. You know, I really like his walkout. He's coming out, big smile on his face, but he really brings it. He's always impressed me when he's fought. You know, even when he loses, he throws some good strikes, and his grappling is not too shabby, and he's got a lot of experience. You know, he's got looks like almost close to 50 fights.
Yeah.
So I think that's might play a role in this fight versus Marquez. But you got Marquez on the other hand, who has won 6 out of his last 7. You know, he's on a roll right now, and guys like that are only going to get better, and their confidence is only going to rise. So. You know, this is gonna be a good one. I think Sam is gonna, probably try to mix things up a little bit, and I know Julian likes to grapple, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Sam, he's always been a guy with a lot of power. He's got 19 TKOs. He said in his pre-fight interview that he has more KOs than Marquez has fights, and he thinks experience is gonna play a factor in this fight. He's also carries a lot of power at light heavyweight, and now he's moving down to middleweight. So
Wow.
I'll be interesting to see if he's still going to carry that same power. On the other side, Marquez, he's 8-2, 6 TKOs. He's coming off a decision that was iffy, and then after that, he got that where he was really getting pieced up, and then he came back with that great submission win. So that's me being really picky. I'm trying to break it down. I think Sam Alvey is going to bring some power, and Marquez, he's slipping in these victories, but I think it's kind of set up for an upset here. I'm pulling a little bit for Alvey, but before we jump into our official picks, what do you think about Julian Marquez on his side of the fight?
You know, he's coming off a big layoff. So when you're coming off a layoff, you probably weren't able to train as much, or you're only able to train one discipline because you have to work around the injury. But you're also very hungry, so. He's probably wants to fight as many times as he could, and get some wins under his belt. But like you said, Sam moving down in weight, I think he's going to bring the power. And now I'm thinking about I do think the experience is going to play a factor. Yeah. And if I'm going to make my pick, I think Sam Alvey is going to win via TKO and probably the second round.
Ooh, I like that pick. Now that we're giving our official picks, like I said, when I saw he got the decision win, and then I watched him get pieced up and then come from behind Marquez and get that submission win, which was great. But sometimes I go by feel on these fight picks, and I really feel like Sam Alvey is really going to bring a lot of power coming down. He's got to be motivated going through the skid. I think this is where he's going to break it up. I'm also going Smiling Sam Alvey by TKO victory. All right, let's jump on to the next fight. So in this fight, we got Nina, the Strina. Ansaroff?
Yeah.
Ansaroff.
I'll take it.
Nina, the Strina, coming in as a minus 115 favorite against Mackenzie Dern. She's a minus 104 underdog. So this is an interesting fight. Mackenzie Dern has missed weight 3 times. It's definitely something to note. She's trying to come in and make this straw weight. I'm surprised that the UFC is allowing her to stay in this weight class. I believe last time she missed weight by about 7.5 pounds, so it's not like she's missing by a pound or 2. And they're still keeping her here, so that's fascinating to me. We'll see what happens. It has to be definitely a big topic if she's going to be able to make weight or not. Nina's a great fighter. She was. She gets some publicity, is known, of course. She's partners with Amanda Nunes, right? And she was a mediocre fighter, to be honest, a couple years ago. And she's really stepped up her game. I don't know. She's training with Amanda all the time. And they're talking about game. And she's 4-1 in her last 5 fights. And she's beat some great girls like Claudia Gadelia, Angela Hill. And she looks great. So what do you think about Nina? Do you think her with Amanda Nunes is playing a role here?
Yeah, of course. You know, when you're training with the best female fighter on the planet, you have no reason to get better, right? Yeah. And that same goes for like the guys that are training with, you know, top level fighters. You know, iron sharpens iron, but you also you know, have to be aware of, you know, having dull iron, you know, clashing too much, you know, with those top level fighters. So her record's 10-6. Like you said, she's put together, you know, some good wins. She's 4-1 in her last fights, but you know, let's be real. Like if Mackenzie Dern gets you to the ground, you know, she's probably going to submit you. And I think that's the way this fight's going to go. I think, you know, Mackenzie's ground game is just, you know, a couple notches higher than a lot of these females. At least, you know, where she's at right now in that division. And it's going to be hard to deal with. You know, if it hits the mat, it's going to be hard to deal with.
And it seems like she's feeling it lately, Mackenzie Dern on the other side, because she's got a few submission wins and she's got a few in a row in the first round. And it seems like she's building into her game plan. Before I'd watch her and it seems like she's flowing with where the fight goes. And then she really utilizes her jiu-jitsu skills when she gets to the ground. She is extremely high level. But these last couple of fights, it seems like she's pressing the fight to get there. She's saying, let's take it to the ground. And she's doing that through her grappling for the most part and some takedown attempts. But she's really grappling, getting the fight to the ground and getting these early finishes. So it'll be interesting. It's always fascinating to me every time Mackenzie Dern comes up because she has this fascinating story where she's taken on this Brazilian accent. And she's definitely can speak pure English, but over the years, it's even gotten so bad to where they're bringing a translator in the octagon to translate for her. And she doesn't need a translator. She doesn't speak Portuguese. She does maybe a little bit. And she's like molded herself to have a Brazilian accent because she's trained over there. Have you heard about that or seen any stories on that?
Well, I definitely think she speaks Portuguese. Her dad is full Brazilian.
Oh, really?
You know,
okay.
Megaton Diaz is a pretty famous Brazilian jiu-jitsu star out there. Yeah, so she's half Brazilian. I think her mom is American. So I think, you know, when you're hanging out with a lot of Brazilians, it probably rubs off on you. And then she probably took on that persona as well as like being the Brazilian, you know, the black belt. Yeah. And the accent just kind of, and I think her man is Brazilian too.
Yeah,
so like,
he is.
They're probably always talking Brazilian. But, you know, some people do, you know, take on the accents a little too hardcore sometimes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure hers is pretty natural because she's been speaking Portuguese her whole life, you know, with her dad and stuff.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see that with her dad, being around people, and you're right. Her boyfriend, I'm not sure her husband could possibly be now, also speaks Portuguese, but it's just really fascinating to see the video online of her speaking like perfect English, and then it like slowly molds it over time.
Yeah,
into, like,
she definitely speaks really good English. I've heard her speak like in interviews and stuff. So, you know, maybe she's not you know, practicing as much nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah, just fascinating. Threw it in there, but for her, she's extremely talented, and we all know where her strength is in her Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Not to say she can't hold her own on the feet. So we know those are the two game plans coming in. Nina's going to keep it on the feet. Mackenzie Dern is going to try to take it down and get that victory. So at the end of the day, how do you see the fight officially unfolding, and who's your win and method of victory?
I think this is probably Mackenzie's toughest fight. Yeah, I definitely think so. We'll see if her striking's. I think it's gotten better. I've noticed over the last couple fights, Mackenzie's putting together her punches better, and she's mixing in the level changes and takedowns a lot better off her strikes. And let's see, you know, if Nina is in shape after having a kid and she's ready to go. I'm sure she is. I think Mackenzie is gonna be able to, you know, use her stand up to get some takedowns, and end up winning by submission. And I would say it's probably going to be in the second round.
Okay, I think that's a good pick. I'm going to go on the other side on this one. I'm going with Nina. I think she's going to defend and negate the takedowns, keep it on the feet. I think it's going to be close back and forth. It might even get into some exchanges, some grappling, and some ground game where I'm thinking Nina can get out of it. I think she'll come in as the stronger fighter. I think at the end of the day, Nina's going to piece her up and win by split decision for Nina. And that's my official fight pick. So let's move on to the next fight we have up. One of my favorite fighters, Mike Platinum Perry, coming in as the plus 142 underdog versus Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, coming in as a minus 172 favorite. So Daniel Rodriguez has been calling out Mike Perry. He's been wanting this fight for a while now. He's been calling out the matchup on Twitter, and it finally, a little while ago, got retweeted by Platinum Mike Perry. And his response was, after Daniel Rodriguez said, "I'm going to retire you. You're going to be in the unemployment line after our fight." And Mike Perry said, "Not with those skinny little chicken legs you got there, boy." I thought that made me laugh. And so we'll jump in and talk about Mike Perry first. He's 14-11, 11 TKOs. Always fun to watch. Always letting the leather fly and throwing big punches. But he's been known to get pieced up and let that jab get in on him, and he takes more shots than he's given, and it always seems like he's waiting to land that big shot, that big overhand right, and he's getting touched too much. But let's let it be known, because he had such a meteoric rise in the UFC and started as an undefeated fighter, put a few guys away, and was really pumped up in the media because of kind of his style. He got, Luke matchup, Jeff Neal, who's tearing through people. Tim Means was the last fight. That's the one I thought he should have won. That he ended up taking his last loss. So he's had an interesting road. And since when he lost to Tim Means, Dana said, hey, he came out to fight much like Woodley should have. Great, even though he took the loss, he actually came out to fight. So that's what we want to see. And after that fight, it was said that Mike Perry's a new guy. He's had a kid. He's on the right path now. He's going to get it back together. And then literally it was the day after that, it was in the media, and a video came up on social that Mike Perry high kicked a glass door at a hotel and split his leg open, and he's bleeding everywhere. I don't know if you saw that on social media. So he always has some type of controversy. And he's got a great opponent here in Daniel Rodriguez. So Chris, as I throw it over to you, what do you think about Mike Perry, and what do you think his mentality is coming into this fight?
Yeah, Mike Perry's super entertaining. He's always bringing that side of things to the fights. Having his girlfriend in his corner, his social media, just his antics, just everything about him. But I've noticed he's actually been getting better as time goes on. His grappling is getting better. I think it's just his MMA training in general is getting better and stepping up. And he's fought a lot of tough guys. He might have some losses under his belt, but he's fighting guys that are in the top 5 or top 10 of the division. Daniel Rodriguez is a really good striker. He's got heavy hands, and I know he trains with Cerrone and Joe Schilling, who is a really good Muay Thai champion. So we'll see if Mike can, last those big shots with, Daniel's reach advantage. He's got 3 inches on him. Yep. So I definitely think he's going to try to keep it on the outside and use those power shots and, finish with kicks and stuff like that. But, if Perry's smart, he's going to put this guy against the cage and use that, that brawling style that he's so good at. Mixing in those short shots, putting him against the cage, the dirty boxing, even taking him down. Yep. Talking about, he beat Alaquenta in a grappling match.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
So typical analysis of this would be it's going to be a stand-up and banging out type of fight. Both these guys like to box. They both like to throw heavy hands. Both have a nice TKO to win ratio. But Mike Perry just beat Alaquenta, who's no slump in a grappling submission underground match. What do you think about Mike Perry's strategy to come in and maybe shoot for a few takedowns and take it to the mat?
I think that would be the smartest thing he can do. Mix up the grappling. I was impressed by his grappling with Alaquenta. And like I said, over the fights watching, it looks like he's getting better in the wrestling department. It's getting better in the jiu-jitsu department. And now he just needs to put it all together in this next fight. Put Daniel against the cage, not let him use his range and, get those strikes from the outside. Get inside and use those big bombs that he likes to throw, and even get some takedowns and use his grappling to take Rodriguez out.
Yeah, I like that. I hope it'd be the obvious thing in his corner. Let's use some more grappling. Let's shoot for some takedowns, at least to make Daniel worry about those shots and change up the game a little bit. I could see Mike Perry landing a few big shots and then feel comfortable on the feet and go away from that strategy. I hope he doesn't. I'll start this one off for my official fight pick. I liked both these guys. I enjoyed learning more about Daniel Rodriguez. He does have heavy hands. He's a good striker. He's a minus 172 favorite So the money's going on him. A lot of people are picking him to win. That's why I like this fight, because I feel like Mike Perry, coming off a few losses, is going to be a dangerous guy in there. He knows he's coming in to keep his job potentially. He knows he needs to get a win. So I like where the money's going. I like these lines. So for my official fight pick, I'm going Mike Perry by TKO win. And Daniel Rodriguez is not a guy that gets put away like this. So I was tempted to go to decision. But I think Mike Perry has heavy hands, and I'm going to say it's going to be a second-round TKO for Mike Perry. That's my official fight pick. Chris, how do you see it?
Nice. I got Mike Perry. I think he's going to squeak this one out with a decision. I think he's going to do enough, get on the inside, stuff Daniel's long-range strikes, get him against the cage, and use that brawling takedown, ground and pound style to win those rounds.
All right, let's move on to our new segment on Fight Picks with the Pros. We got our early prediction. So this is where we're going to check it out. We know these lines shift a lot to these upcoming fights, especially when they're 4 weeks, 6 weeks out. So we're going to start doing some early predictions here. This one we got Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman. He's currently as the -400 favorite against Jorge Gambred Masvidal. He's a +310 underdog. So this is an interesting fight. We all know how this played out last time. Kamaru Usman won all 5 rounds against Jorge Masvidal in a fight in Abu Dhabi. He did take the fight on 6 days' notice, so he really saved the card, saved the fight, flew out there, and even though he lost every round, it was competitive, not like he was, getting beat up super bad. A lot of grappling, a lot of top control and grappling control by Usman with all those foot stops and holding Jorge against the cage. But both these guys have got on to fight outside of this. Jorge, beat Nate Diaz and is looking extremely confident. He's got that BMF belt, and of course with his media rise is gets a lot of attention. On the other side, Kamaru Usman went off and beat Gilbert Burns. He's 18-1. He's just a scary, focused dude. And after his fight against Gilbert Burns, a lot of people said, who's going to be up to get the fight? And he called out Jorge. He said, I want to make that right. I don't want any excuses, 6 days notice. Give me that fight. I'm ready for it. So this fight is officially booked. What do you think about Kamaru Usman? And then we'll get over to Jorge.
Man, the dude's a beast. I think he's going to be champ for a while, and he's proven it time and time again why he's champion. And he's just getting better and better. He's training with Trevor Whitman. He changed things up. He used to be with Henry Hoof at the Sanford MMA guys, but I think there was just a lot of guys his weight class at that gym. So he moved on to Trevor, and that personalized training sometimes does it for some guys. Just getting that extra attention. Working your fight camp around. Just structuring everything around your fight camp. Not coming into all these big group classes and having to spar with everybody. So I'm noticing guys at the highest level now are individualizing their fight camps and bringing in coaches, bringing in their training partners, because at that level you have the money to do so. Like when guys are first starting, they don't have money to bring in sparring partners and get a ton of private attention, so they have to do all the group stuff. So I think that's played a good role in Kamaru's title defenses, and he's only going to get better. Now George, on the other hand, he's always got that X factor. He can KO you with flying knees or punches or whatever it is. But I think the fight's gonna be pretty similar. I think George is gonna of course have better conditioning, and he's gonna be able to outlast some of those takedowns a bit more this time. But I think Kamaru's going to do the same thing. He's going to be able to get the takedown, win these rounds, control them, win every round, and get the decision win.
Yeah. I like this fight. So you're going early. You're going Kamaru Usman by decision, which is definitely a great pick. I like Jorge already having a fight against Kamaru Usman. He knows the game plan coming in. He's felt his strength. His team has that opportunity as well. So hopefully he's coming in with a different game plan. Yeah. Of course, coming in shape with the full camp, and he can talk to some people on the inside who have fought Kamaru Usman previously. So it's interesting. If it was a straight up fight, I'm going Kamaru Usman. I like those odds on Jorge is +310 right now. So let's say you put $100 on Jorge to win the fight. You're going to make $310. I like those odds, especially if you're picking a Jorge by KO or a Jorge by decision. If you're picking the method of victory too, you're really going to see that plus money jump. So one side of me would say, pick the win and method of victory for Jorge. It could be a good bet here, and I like that pick. But the realistic side of me is saying Kamaru Usman. So my official early prediction is going to be Kamaru Usman. I want to switch up our picks. We're on the same page a lot, but I'll go Kamaru Usman by decision is my early prediction as well. That's really how I see if I was to see the fight unfold in my head, that's how I see it playing out. So that'll be my official fight pick for now. But as we lead up to the fight, things could change. We'll see how these lines move, and then we'll give our pick again when it comes to fight week. So you're going Kamaru Usman by decision. I'm copying you on that. I'm going Kamaru Usman by decision.
Yeah, let's tell everyone too that this is going to be like one of the first events where all the fans are going to be back.
You're right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be full
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville is letting it happen. So that puts a different spin on things as well.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Who takes in that pressure more? I feel like Jorge loves that. He soaks it in. Maybe that'll put some pressure on Usman. I don't think so. He's got a rock solid mentality too. So this is a wild fight. I hope it's a little bit more competitive. I love to see some rounds go back and forth and not be so dominant for Kamaru every round. So it's exciting. Yeah, the fans sold it out. I think it was like 17 minutes. The whole arena sold out. So it's pretty ridiculous. Fans are chomping at the bit to come back, and who knows? We'll see what happens. All right, now let's move on.
It's time for the main fight pick of the evening.
All right, what's up, guys? We're on to the main event of the evening. The previous main event was scrapped. Dern Till is no longer going to be performing. He broke his collarbone, and as a replacement, we saw it all week, call Big Mouth, and now he's in. Kevin Trailblazer Holland.
Yes.
He's coming in to fight as the plus 270 underdog coming into this fight. Then we got Marvin, the Italian Dream, Vettori coming in as a minus 355 favorite. So a heavy favorite for Marvin. So, Chris, right off the bat, what's your opinion on how this all shook up and Kevin taking the fight?
Well, this is not the first time he's taken a short notice fight. He takes advantage of those opportunities and staying in shape year round. And the UFC loves guys that that save cards and get in there on short notice and are willing to fight anytime. So I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan. He's got a lot of good wins this past year, and I want to see how he matches up versus Marvin because Marvin's, no joke.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. So we know Kevin's story. He's always calling out for fights. He's a guy, we talk about this a lot, Chris. He takes advantage of his mic time after fights, post-fight interviews, and he's super entertaining, funny, comedic. So he's great, and he's able to get these fights. And he had this 5-0 run through 2020. Now it's 2021. He just took a loss to Brunson. Tough fight. So his mentality coming in this fight, he's coming in as a heavy underdog. I'm surprised to see him as a plus 270 underdog coming in this fight. I thought these odds makers would make this more of a even money line, but maybe that's good for all the bettors out there. What do you think about Kevin coming in as such an underdog? Is there something I'm missing about the Italian Dream that he's...
Yeah, I think it probably has to do with, for one, it's short notice. Yeah. So somehow that mixes in with the betting or whatever it is. But on the other hand, I think coming off the loss and Marvin coming off a win, might play into it a little bit too. But I like the matchup. I think Holland's going to stay long and try to use those laser right hands to stop Marvin coming in. But I think Marvin needs to press him against the cage and work that grappling that he's really good at, or mixing everything up.
Yeah, and for Vettori, he's never been finished. He's a guy that gets a lot of decision wins, I've noticed. So I think that's something they're seeing. I see that there's a lot of, plus 500 for Kevin Holland to win by KO. I like that prop. Plus 320 for Marvin Vettori to win by submission. And he does have 9 subs on his record. So there's some heavy things to look out for. What do you think Vettori's... He knows that Kevin wants to stand and bang and stand and strike. And he's saying in some interviews that he's ready to stand and strike with him. And a lot of people say that until maybe that he feels one of those big, heavy right straights. And then he'll lean on his submission game. I hate when guys say, I'm ready to stand and bang with him, kind of showing off when we know Vettori has a big strength on the ground. If let's say you're his corner man, you're his coach going into it, what would be your game strength if you were Marvin Vettori coming in to beat Kevin Holland?
Well, I would have a lot of confidence for one, knowing that I've been getting ready for a main event fight, a 5-round fight. It's different, than a 3-round fight. You got those 2 extra rounds, and If you're not prepared for that and it goes later in the rounds, you're probably gonna end up losing or not doing too well. So I know Kevin stays in shape year round. He's probably always in the gym, and the best way to get over losses are getting back in there and getting after it again and trying to get a win, and then everyone forgets your loss.
Yeah.
And, all they now, he just beat Marvin Vettori on short notice or whatever it is. But if Marvin and his camp play this smart, I think they need to press the pace a little bit. Find their way in with slips and closing the distance with those big shots and getting him to the clinch, wearing him down, making it a mixed martial arts fight, grappling against the cage, a little bit of clinch, and then start wearing Kevin down since he might not be in the best shape since it's short notice.
And we just saw how he was able to be controlled on the ground last fight, right? Yeah. Constantly. And he had the advantage on the feet against Brunson, but he just couldn't get up. Every time he got taken down, I was pulling for Kevin in that fight, and every time you got taken down, you had that feeling like he's not going to be able to get back up. Here's another 2.5 minutes on the ground. And if Marvin Vettori has the ground game that everyone's saying he does, he's very strong. Has it been against a guy like Kevin Holland? We already see that he has a weakness on the ground. So I think it could be the same type of matchup, same type of outcome as the previous fight. But when it comes down to it, what is going to be your official fight pick for this main event?
Man, I really like Kevin Holland. Like I said, we talked a little bit, backstage one time, but I just the MMA math in my head is saying, I'm pulling for Marvin Vettori just because I feel like he's been getting ready for the fight and he's good enough to not get hit early, and take this fight to the ground and make it a long one.
Yeah. So after saying that, I'll give you my official fight pick. I think in this one, my heart is telling me Kevin Holland by knockout. That big prop, he's not going to lose 2 in a row. He's going to bring back the momentum. That's what my heart wants to say. But if I want to say my safe pick on this one, what I think the actual outcome is going to be, I'm going to say Marvin, the Italian Dream, Vettori, by decision win. I think he's going to be too much for him, even though it's in the main event. They do have 5 rounds to play it out. A finish can happen anywhere. But I think he is going to it's going to be some back and forth in the first opening rounds, round 1, round 2, and then the takedowns are going to start settling in. Kevin's not going to be able to get up. He's going to get tired, and I see Marvin Vettori winning 3 to 4 rounds in this fight and getting the decision win. Okay,
yeah, I can see that. I'm going to say I think Marvin's going to get like the TKO maybe in the 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
I think like you say, he's going to get the takedown and man, the decisions are going back and forth in my head. I can see it being a good first round. Marvin's going to get rocked. He's going to get wobbled, but he's going to be able to, keep it standing and maybe get a takedown. But I think in the 3rd or 4th round, once Kevin starts dying down a little bit, I think he'll get finished on the ground.
Okay, so that's your fight pick. I'm going with Vettori by decision. Chris is going Vettori by 3rd or 4th round TKO. I'm Garrett. This is Chris. Thank you guys for watching Fight Picks with the Pros. We'll see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and get notified when we upload next.